I'm excited to join you all today. Going to jump right into it. Today, we're going to talk about three things not to ask a guy on a date. And of course, I'm Coach B, former lifelong bachelor, married to my beautiful wife, Coach Tosh, who's relaxing right now. I told her to just take the day off, enjoy yourself. So she's relaxing right now, but I'm sure she'll tune in and just listen in or something. But I want to get right into it because we've had so many ladies in the community, so many ladies even on this channel that listen, that have been using the things that we've been teaching and are attracting so many men that want to take care of them, men that want to move forward in the relationship. But today is important because I want to go over what not to say to these guys when you're on dates with them. Because understanding how to converse, understanding that you can say the same thing different ways. Hey Dora, how you doing? You can say the same things, but finding different ways to say it. But we don't want to say things in these ways because it may be a turnoff to men that are providers that want to take care of you, men that want to be with you. So I'm going to jump straight into the first point, but make sure you get your questions ready so we can answer as many questions as we have, and I'm going to just jump right into it. So let me know if you all can hear me clearly. I want to make sure that you all can hear me clearly before I dive into it. So give me a thumbs up, give me a yes, give me a no, so I can make those adjustments before I dive deep into it. Me Adora support. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, great. Thanks so much, Cami. So the first thing you don't want to say to a guy when you're out on a date is, and and trust me, I've heard this before. The first thing you don't want to ask them is, are you a provider or are you generous? And the thing is, it's not that you don't want to know this. This may be something important to you. It's important to know if he's a provider, if he's, generous, if he likes doing things for people. But asking in that way for a man can just be a straight turn off. If someone asks me, of course, I'm good now. I got my wife, but during the time when I was dating, if someone would have come up to me in that type of way, because look, I don't have time for games. I just want to dive right into it. I have to understand that, if you're the type of person I need to be with, so I'm just going to ask you straight out. If that's your way of approaching it, then most men are going to be turned off. Most men, I don't care if they have 100K in the bank, a mil in the bank, they're going to look at you and say, okay, I don't know what she's in it for, but I'm not going to stick around for it. That's why it's so important to understand how to say it. You don't want to come out and just say, okay, are you a provider? Because, I don't feel like wasting time getting to know people. I want to jump right into it. Let's understand if, you my type or not. No, no. And first, like we always tell you ladies, just enjoy getting to know each other. Just enjoy spending time. Just enjoy the dates. It's ways during conversation that you can ask him and that you can understand if he's a provider. Just asking even about, his family and, maybe his kids, if he has kids, the things that he does with them, maybe, just talking about, just what he's done, how he spends his time, because it's going to come out. It's not something that's going to take a while to understand because who you are comes out. And as he starts talking about who he is and what he does, you're going to see how his day to day life is. You're going to see if it's all about him or if he's taking care of others. And I'm not just talking about financially, because I know even for myself, when my parents got sick when in my early 20s, both of my parents had strokes, unfortunately. When they got sick, my sister and we were in position, but we were always taking care of them. We were going up there watching them. We would just go visit. We would bring food to them. Even my father, he was actually eating parade food, and some of you may know about that, where you have to mash up the food. But he hated it, so he wanted some real food. For my Chicago people, he wanted an Italian beef dip with hot peppers, but I couldn't give him the peppers. But I would bring him food up there, and I would chop it up for him and make sure he at least had a taste of it. And he would try to, just eat it all at once. But little signs like that can show you, is this person someone who's going to provide, protect, take care? Is he generous? Because understand this, ladies. Men with money don't care about spending it. So they can spend money on you, they can buy this, but that doesn't mean that they're a provider. That means that they're doing what they have to do to get what they want. So you don't want to get misinformed. You don't want to look at it and say, oh, he's a provider because he has money. He's a provider because he bought me this. No, he's spending money because that's part of his budget to get what he wants. And men understand, like, okay, I'll spend $1,000 a month. I'll spend 2,500 a month. They'll spend whatever it takes to get what they want, but it doesn't necessarily show if they're generous. It doesn't show if they're providers. So you want to ask questions. You want to talk. You want to get to know the people, because having a nice car, having a nice house, wearing nice clothes, nice jewelry doesn't mean that he wants to share that with you at any point. So understand that when we're talking about providers. So the first thing is, don't go asking, is he a provider? Is he generous? Because one thing I talk about all the time is men will say whatever they can to get what they want. So understanding that maybe the person before him, wasn't a provider. The person before him didn't do this. So he'll just start doing it. Because if you're already in your feminine, if you're already used to that, if that's normal to you, that's not a question that you're going to ask. You're not going to ask that of a man if that's all you know. If you're always around people and men that want to provide, people and men that are generous, that's not something that you have to have on your list of questions, because that's normal, because you walk around, you embody that. So people around you understand if they want to be in your presence, that this is part of it. Not that they have to come out their pockets and spend all of this, but being around you, you're used to people want to take care of you, want to do things for you. So even presenting that question on a date lets us know as a man that this may not be normal to you. So guess what? I'm not going to be the first one who starts spoiling you. I'm not going to be the first one who provides for you. No. If this isn't normal to you, then it probably won't be something that a healthy masculine energy man wants to do just because. So trust me on this, ladies. Men are looking. Men are saying, okay, what's normal to her? What is she used to? Is this something, am I putting her in a new environment? And men don't mind that. But if they're putting you in a new environment, then the expectations change. So you want to make sure that you embody the woman that you desire to be, not just head knowledge. Like, okay, I heard Coach Tosh, Coach B talk about, men need to take care of me. Men who want to be with me are going to provide. But if you're not already in that energy, you first of all probably won't even attract that type of man. And then you'll go around like Build-A-Bear and try to make a man what you want them to be, instead of embodying who you desire so they can see it when they come in your presence. So it's so important. I'm looking at some of these questions as well. I'm definitely going to get to these questions. And of course, even as we're talking about this, of course, ladies that are listening, of course, all the inner work. And we go over this so often. We have a masterclass this upcoming weekend, the Feminine Energy Academy, as well this weekend. So I'll give more details on that shortly, but definitely we'll get to the questions that I see in the comment section. The next question, and it's three things I'm going to tell you not to say on dates. The next question that you don't want to ask a man, trust me, ladies, you don't want to put yourself in this situation, is, are you seeing other women? And just for those that are watching and may not know, the answer to that 90% of the time, if you're wondering with a man, it's not even a question you have to ask. The answer to that question is yes. For most men that are single, most men that are dating, they're dating other women. I don't care what they tell you, like, I've never seen anyone like you, you're just so different. And you could be. But trust me, until it's official, until he asks you to be exclusive, he's most likely seeing other women. So I don't want you to set yourself up in that way. I don't want you to put him in a position where he starts telling where he tells something and now you're like, okay, he's not honest with me. No, trust me. That's something you don't have to worry about. And we teach you ladies as well. We teach you ladies to rotationally date, not to get attached to any man until he asks you to marry him. Even during the dating process, when you're getting closer, when you're exclusive, you still want to leave space, because until he asks you to marry him, and you all become official, then technically you all are still single. It's I mean, girlfriend, boyfriend, you're single. We call it glorified situationships, meaning that we say we're together. We don't have anything else that's saying we're together besides us saying it. Most likely we live in separate houses. We do our own thing. We connect on the weekends or at night or something like that, but it's not really you all are official. You don't have any paperwork behind it. It's just like, okay, I like you, you like me. I think the next step is to be boyfriend, girlfriend. For us here, we don't even believe in boyfriend, girlfriend. That whole title means nothing. I mean, I'm sure some of you have been in 6 year, 7 year, maybe 2 or 3 year relationships where you're boyfriend, girlfriend, and you don't know where it's going. You're trying to figure out, like, okay, are we going to get engaged? What's going to happen? But the thing is, once you allow that title to happen, now he knows that he can drag this out. He can just move. He can drag this out for a couple of years. Maybe he can put a ring on it. Whatever the case is, he can do whatever he needs to do because you're locked in. But guess what? Most of the time, he's not locked in like you're locked in that girlfriend, boyfriend, dating phase. So understand, if you're wondering, are we together? Are you seeing other women? The answer is yes for most men. Don't want you ladies to, because you meet him, you like him, everything's going great. You met his family. He still hasn't asked you to marry him. He still hasn't proposed to you. You might even have a key to his house. It's still not official until it's official. So understand that during the dating phase, for the most part, that's why we talk to you ladies so much about your negotiables, your non-negotiables. You don't want to be dating someone for months and years before having official titles. You want to have timelines. Okay, you met him now, you're dating exclusively. Give yourself a timeline. Okay, I'm giving myself 6 months before I get married, a year before I get married, whatever the case is not connected to him. Because if you're waiting on him to propose, like, okay, I'll give you 6 months. Okay, I'll give you a year. Okay, I'll give you 18 months. Then he's going to wait all that time just to reset. Okay, you get to 12 months. Well, some stuff happened at work, some stuff happened at home, some stuff happened financially. I'm not ready yet. Even, well, we can't have that destination wedding. So let's just let's hold off because there was some stuff going on. So let's hold off until next year. And ladies, let me know, how many of you ladies have been in relationships, and it's no judgment. How many ladies have been in relationships where things have dragged out, where weddings have gotten postponed, engagement rings have gotten pushed back, whatever the case, things don't work out, especially when you're in that boyfriend girlfriend stage. Promises are not met that men promise you. And I'm telling you this because guess what? I'm a man. I've done some things and made some mistakes in my life as well. I'm sure I've been that guy in different times as well. So it's not like I'm telling you this off, a concept or anything like that. No, I was a bachelor for 30 plus years. So being a bachelor for 30 plus years means that I've had, I've put myself in different situations. You know, I've done things that I'm talking about now. I've done things that I'm talking about now. And to help protect you ladies from getting in these situationships, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s. And the reality is you have timelines. If you're looking to have kids, things like that, start a family, you don't want to push it back until they're ready. You've given them, 3, 4 good years of your life. Now they've decided to move on. And 6 months later, they're getting married and you're left holding the bag. You don't want to put yourself in that situation because guess what? The only person you'll have to blame is yourself. So it's really about using these tools that we're giving you and being able to make decisions. And that's why I love the Feminine Energy Academy again, because ladies get to it's a safe place where they get to come in, talk about what's going on. So many ladies come in when they're in situationships, when they're in tough parts of their relationship. Even married ladies come in that at some point we're looking at potentially separating, but having the tools, using the tools that we give them to turn things around and understanding that it's up to them. It's not up to the guy. You don't want to give your power away and say, okay, well, if they just do stuff differently, or no, it's about you making the change and doing what's necessary to position yourself so you're not left in that situation. So I don't want to get too far off of it. But one thing you don't want to ask men on dates is, are you seeing other women? The short answer to that is yes, they are. And I see your question, Roadrunner. I'm definitely going to get to it. I'm going to get to all the questions at the end. I want to go over, yeah, I see a couple more questions as well. But one more thing I want to go over as far as the thing not to ask men on dates. Hey, trust me, you don't want to ask them this. And I'm telling you stuff that men won't tell you. Men aren't going to tell you this. They'll listen, they'll nod, and at this point, they'll make a decision like, okay, they're in it just to get what they want out of it. Because I see this isn't going anywhere. Because they'll still talk to you. They'll continue talking to you. They may take you out, but in their mind, they can start checking out until they get whatever they came in for. And a lot of times we understand that's sex that they come in for in certain situations if the man isn't healed and healthy and whole. But you want to be able to identify these guys, right? But understand, don't ask this next question. This question won't be helpful when you're talking to men. And that question is, and I'm talking about when you're just starting to date that person, or when you go out on a date or two. What do you like best about me? Listen, you're gonna stump the guy when you ask him that question. What do you like best about me? The truth of the matter is how you look. Men at the first, second date, men aren't thinking like, oh, she has such a great personality. She gives a charity. She loves her mother. I love the way she takes care of her kids. Those are things that he may have noticed. But the first couple of dates, what he likes best about you is how you look, potentially, potentially being with you is what he's thinking about, and that can be in marriage, whatever the case is. But men aren't overthinking it. Men aren't, and I'm not saying men aren't smart because men are super smart, but men aren't super deep thinkers. Like whatever we're thinking at the top of our mind, we're not going to super analyze it. It's like, okay, this is my thought. Let me go with this thought. So when he sees you, he was attracted to you because of how you look. He wasn't attracted to you because, that outfit you had on, unless it's a little tight outfit or something like that. Or I love the way you color coordinate. No, men don't care about color coordinating. They don't care about backgrounds and photos. Men don't care about all that. It helps, it's like, oh, okay, she does stuff. She likes going out, whatever the case is. When you're going out on dates with men, the first couple of dates you're going out on them, what men love about you is how you look. And as long as you continue to have that on point, that opens the door to opportunities for men to get to know you even more. But if that's not on point, then nothing else matters. I don't care if you gave to charity. I don't care if you volunteered at Ronald McDonald. I don't care if you volunteered at the Children's Hospital, whatever the case is. I don't care if every week you go to the senior citizen building and you pass out coffee or water or whatever the case is. Those things don't matter. So just know, asking a man, what do you like best about me? It's going to put him in a situation where he may be stumped. Because what I want to tell you is I just like, how your body shaped or something like that. But what I have to say, because I don't want to come off as a creep, I don't want to come off looking like, oh, okay, that's all he's thinking about is that. Well, that's the first thing most men think about. So asking him that's going to put him in a situation where he's going to be stumped, where he's not going to know what to say. He's going to take his breath. He may, circle back to the conversation, but it's not a question that's going to be something that's going to be healthy or really help when getting to know the guy that you're dating. When you're going on dates with guys, it's really about you having fun, allowing him to do most of the talking. I don't want you to come there with a list of questions, a list of, okay, I got to say something. I got to figure this out. I don't want to waste time because I've been on so many dating apps. I've been on so many dates and people like wasting my time. So I'm just going to ask them right here and right now. So how many kids you got? How much money you make? Where do you live? Do you see yourself moving? Are you okay if I have kids? don't come at any man like that. I don't care if you don't want to go on second date if you don't know this information. No, use the time getting to know him. First off, when you have your love list, when you have your negotiables and non-negotiables, when you're talking to them on the phone, when you're FaceTiming, those are opportunities to just have conversations, because when you talk about his life, he brings up all of that. So have conversation and listen. Listen for something. Don't just listen so you can respond. Listen to understand. Listen to hear him out. Because men will tell you everything you want to hear if you allow them to, if you're willing to listen instead of just saying, okay, he's done talking. Let me say what I have to say. So listen, that'll help you save a lot of time. Now you won't be going on dates with these guys and now you're like, well, he's not my type because, he wanted me to pay for the meal or whatever the case is. He'll let you know this before you're going on a date with him. So listen to him, and before you agree to meet in person, before you agree to meet this person in person, at least allow them to match the majority of your love list. And I'm not talking about, okay, he's 6'2", dark skin, good hair, nice smile. No, that's not the love list that I'm talking about. It's the things that we talk about in the Feminine Energy Academy. Then he seems like a nice guy. We talk about it all the time. You want to date a bad boy, you're going to get bad boy results. It comes with it. If a bad boy is a bad boy at all times. He's not a bad boy just in public, and then in the house the nice gentleman. No, he's a bad boy. So understand what you're looking for. Understand what you're open to dating and thinking outside of the box, because most of you that are listening, let me get that right there. Most of you that are listening, or most of you that are in the community, understand the way you've been dating up to this point hasn't worked. That's the reality of it. The way you've been dating hasn't worked. Either you're single, potentially divorced, or something, outside of you has happened. But at this point, you're not in the relationship that you desire to be in. And a lot of times we just recycle the same type of people in different bodies. I mean, okay, I'm tired of him because he didn't do this. This guy right here does everything different. 2 weeks in, he's just like the guy you just had. And the reason is because you haven't done any healing, because you haven't looked deeper than the surface to see what type of guy you're looking at or what type of guy you're allowing to take you on dates. It's like, okay, well, I feel good around him. Well, one thing to understand, feelings change. So if you're going off of how you feel, then it's going to be a long day. And we talk to you ladies so often about how to choose men. And one thing you want to look at when you're choosing men is that you want to think about it logically. Think about what makes sense. You're not choosing men like you're choosing food. Like, okay, I'll try this today, and this looks good. So, oh yeah, I like the way they decorated that. Let me get some of this. No, you have to choose it in a way that this food that I'm putting in my body is either going to help me grow or it's going to hurt me. And I'm not talking about physically hurt you, but it's going to hurt me. It's either going to help me or hurt me. So when you're looking at and choosing a man, you have to look, is this man good for me and my kids? Is he good for me as a husband? Or okay, he's making good money. He makes good money. So we're gonna work around that. I don't have to work at least. No. You have to choose based on logic and what makes sense. And would you feel comfortable potentially closing your eyes at night with this person there? Because if we're talking about someone you're going out on a date with, you're not marrying them right now, but you're going and saying they have a lot of qualities of someone that I would potentially marry. So don't go around. That doesn't mean go around calling each other, wifey. Don't let men call you wifey when you just met because, I just really like you. And no, it's not about the nicknames or any of that. It's about looking logically and saying, is this person, what about this person do I like, do I enjoy? And when you go down that list about what do I like about this person, consider what you're thinking first. Do I like his smile? Do I like, his height? Do I like his bank account? Because whatever you like, whatever comes to mind first is what the relationship is going to be about for you. And you don't want to get into a relationship based on stuff that in the long run doesn't matter as much. You want to make sure he's able to take care and provide, and he has a motor, he's ambitious, things like that. But you don't want to put a dollar amount on it. You don't want to say, okay, he has to make at least 500K, and you've never dated a man that's made more than 60K. You have to really be realistic with it and understand where you are, because there's plenty of men making 500K, a million plus. But where are you at? Is this someone that you're ready to receive? Do you understand what it takes to be with a man like that? What type of lifestyle do you desire? Do you desire a lifestyle where he makes a lot of money and he's never there? Or do you desire a lifestyle where he makes a lot of money and he's there? Does he work a 9 to 5? All these things are considered. And the 9 to 5 isn't necessarily just because, okay, I want a business owner. No, but what type of time does he have available for you and the kids? You have to think about that when you're considering the man that you want to marry, because a lot of times what happens is it's like, okay, they have a couple of things that I like. But then when things start moving forward, how they respond in situations. Are they someone who understands how to talk things out, think things out, or are they emotional? And emotion can be great, but if it's uncontrolled emotion where, they fly by the seat of their pants and, something was said and now they just don't know how to respond. They check out for the next 3 hours because it's like they weren't expecting that. Understand when you're in relationships, when you're in business, anything, when you're doing things that are relationship business wise, you're going to run into some things and things are going to happen. Things are going to happen in business. Things are going to happen in relationship. So it's not about what happens. It's always about how you respond. So you want to think about the man and how he responds. Is he the voice of reason or are you the voice of reason? And trust me, ladies, if you're the voice of reason, then that's not something that's healthy in a relationship, because you want to make sure the man, now you can be the voice of reason, but if he's not, let me say that, then that could be something that can be dangerous, because you want to make sure the man understands how to control himself, control his emotions, control how he responds. And that's so key. So it's so many keys you're looking at when you're considering the type of man you want to marry, that are outside of how he looks and how tall he is. Trust me, men look so much better to women when they have things together, when they're in their provider energy, when they're protecting, when they're all about you. But when you get a man who's, all about himself, you're going to come second to him. It's going to be about him. He's going to, take a couple hours to get ready. He's going to need you to tell him how handsome he is. He needs that good morning handsome text every day. He needs that good morning handsome, conversation every day. He's going to need a lot from you. You don't want a needy man. You want a man who's open and looks at you as his queen, looks at you as someone that he just loves being around. And it for you, and unfortunately, Coach Tosh isn't on here, but it does so much for you as a woman, especially hormonally, to just be able to be at peace, to be able to relax, to be able to know that things are taken care of, that no matter what happens, that he's going to be there to make sure that you're safe, to make sure you're protected, to make sure you're good. Or you can choose a man that when things happen, now he's looking at you like, what do we do? How do we deal with this? I look good or I got money, but I don't understand how to deal with situations. So it's so many things that you want to look at when you're considering the man that potentially marry. I want to get to a couple of these questions. See, we have Dora on here. She says, yes, 100%. I realized I was closed off for years because I believe that no other man can be safe for my daughter like her own father. And that's a challenge. And thanks so much for the comment, Dora. Dora's in our Feminine Energy Academy community. So definitely appreciate you for jumping on. But a lot of ladies and men as well, when you get in your 30s and 40s, you're going to have kids. And one thing you have to consider when you have kids is the type of men that you bring around. And without a shadow of a doubt, in most cases, that their father has their best intent at hand. So you feel safe. And it's so easy to just want to stick it out or, let me work this out because at least I know he's going to take care of her. He's going to take care of you as well. He's going to make sure you're good. But is this the type of man? And this is if you're not married. If you're married, you got to get some counseling. You have to work through it. But if you're not married, you have to consider, even though we laid down and had kids together, is this the type of man that you see being the husband that you desire, as well as the father? And it's plenty of men out there. We see it. We see 6, 7 figure earners. We see all type of men that are willing to step up and be that father. But it's something within yourself you have to come to the conclusion of, because if you're looking at things like Dora used to, where no other man out there will want to take care of her daughter, then you'll find yourself in cycles of just going back to the father of your children. Or, okay, you don't want to date because you don't want to put your daughter in that position. No, when you do the healing, you're able to attract the right type of man. And when you attract that type of man, then you'll see that, okay, the years or however long it was where you had this belief, you had this narrative. Narrative was based on just your own belief. It wasn't based on anything outside of you. It was just a narrative that you came up with on your own. And you came up with it and made sense. So you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But trust me, there's so many healthy men out here. But a lot of times it's just the inner work that you need to do. It's some things that you need to be able to move past, some stories that you've been telling yourself, or maybe you saw your parents, you saw your aunts, you saw your friends get in situations that weren't healthy. And now that becomes your idea of how relationships are for women that have kids. But thankfully, Dora's gotten to the point that now she's able to see that it's other men out there potentially that are for her and her daughter. They're not there to replace the dad, but they're there to support you. They're there to be there for you. They're there understanding that you have a child, but you also have a life. You want to live. You want to, someone that can make you the center of their lives as well as support you and your kids. So I'm so happy to hear that from Dora. But trust me, ladies, it's about doing the inner work to position yourself. What's going on, Donna? Donna, who's in the Feminine Energy Academy. We have a couple of our ladies from the FEA in here. Again, the link is right there if you want to jump into the Feminine Energy Academy. It's a free 7-day trial right now. The price is going up soon. So trust me, ladies, jump in now. You get a free 7 days to binge watch, binge listen, jump in. Make sure you message Coach Tosh. Let her know what you're there for. Give her all the details. That's your safe place. Let her know. She'll help guide you and send you a couple of videos. She'll send you exactly what you need for where you're at. And you'll have access to all the master classes to Ask a Man, where I go in periodically and just talk to the ladies. Go a lot deeper on video, where we get a chance to just talk and work through some of the situations. I get to coach them through those. So definitely want to jump in if that's something that interests you. Another question says, if you're taking questions, I'm struggling with rotationally dating as a single man. I believe is it as a single mom. I'm sorry. Um, Only have so much time each week to go on dates. Any tips? And that's a common thing, Cheryl. So thanks for your questions as well. But that's common because we have women that have jobs. A lot of women are running businesses. Then you have kids. Then you have to do just life. So that's where really narrowing things down and not just being open to everything comes in. That's where we help you walk through and understand. And I believe you're in the Feminine Energy Academy. And if you're not, just jump in so we can help walk you through that. But understanding how to position yourself so you're able to attract the right type of guys, and understanding that even as you're rotationally dating, what you're giving to the guy, you're not getting attached to him. You're having fun on these dates. Also, going through the process of your negotiables and non-negotiables, because sometimes what happens is, because you're rotationally dating, it's like you're just going on dates. But even during that process, you want to narrow it down to, does this guy match your love list? And of course, sometimes you're practicing, but when you have a tight schedule like you do, Cheryl, you want to really hone in on exactly what you're accepting, what type of guy you're willing to give your time to. So when you do that, you position yourself more so you're able to attract the right type of guys. So now you're like, okay, these are my negotiables. These are my non-negotiables. And if they're not meeting your non-negotiable list, then you don't waste time with them. You don't spend time with them. Of course, some guys you get to know them more. It just the attraction may not be there, whatever the case is. It may not line up. But really not just saying, okay, I'm just going out on dates and one of them's going to match. One person's going to work out. No, really honing in on your list, on your love list, your negotiables, your non negotiables. Now, when you're talking to them, and make sure before you go on a date with these guys, Cheryl, make sure you FaceTime them. You have a couple of conversations on the phone with them just to get to know them. And then as you go on these dates, it's even good to have time frames like, okay, you're going on a date, things are going well. You still want to cut it off at a certain time. You don't want to give these dates 3, 4 hours because it can be draining and make him want to see you again. So it's that whole idea of getting to the place where you're giving him enough so he can knows that that you're interested. And again, rotationally dating isn't having sex or anything. We don't believe rotationally dating that way. But you want to give him enough so he's interested and knows you're interested, but then you want to leave him hanging for more. So you schedule times to talk. Like when I was courting Coach Tosh and she was in Canada, I was in the States, I was in Chicago at the time. I would say, okay, are you available to speak tonight? Tonight at this time. Then she would say yes or no. So we would schedule times because of both of our schedules. Both of us were running businesses, both of us were just busy. So we were able to schedule times at the end of the day. Then we're able to schedule out times to where I actually came there. At first it didn't work and she detached and went silent. But when I came back, we set a schedule like, okay, I'll be there at this date. So when I came, even then, we still didn't just hang out around each other. So in the process of getting to know someone, you want to be really strategic with your time and with your energy. And you want to make sure that these people match your love list. Again, the more you talk to guys, the more you listen, the more you'll understand if this is the right type of guy that you want to spend time with or not. And again, you can't determine, some dates may not work out, some will work out, but you want to do what you can. And if it feels overbearing, go on one date a month. Go on one date. It's not a certain amount of dates that you have to go on, but it's about you staying in the energy of not getting attached to any of these guys, not giving anything up physically, sexually, not doing any of that, not having those type of conversations, just getting to know them. And through that process, and also, I don't want to overlook this. You're doing the inner work and the inner healing because it could be a few areas within yourself that you have to re-regulate, that you may need to make some shifts or changes in if you're finding yourself, you feel like wasting time on dates but not being able to attract the right type of guy. So you want to look internally first, then do all the things that you need to do. And that's why the Feminine Energy Academy is so important, because ladies come in with the same questions. Ladies come in like, okay, I don't have time, it's so draining. But we walk you through it, even with our master classes. So many audios within the Feminine Energy Academy about re-regulating, about dating for marriage, that help our ladies come in. And within the first 2, 3 months, they're like, I came in a situationship. 2 months later, they've attracted that healthy masculine energy man that wants to date them exclusively. Men are flying out to the ladies just to go on a date. So they're flying out one day, leaving the same day, coming back a week later, because the ladies are using we're kind of walking the ladies through how to make it happen from a man's perspective and from my wife, Coach Tasha's perspective, because this is what we did. This is what she was able to do, and this is what I did as well. So it's about having the tools to do what's necessary, not feeling like, you have to do it on your own, because when you start feeling drained and overwhelmed, a lot of times because you're doing it on your own, you're trying to make it happen. Maybe you watched a couple of videos on YouTube or something like that, and now it's like, okay, I got it. Let me just try it. And then you find yourself overwhelmed. So you want to be careful with that. It's great to listen to what we're talking about on here, but also know that we go so much deeper. This is just to bring awareness on this channel. We bring awareness to where people are, to situations that they may be going through, but to go deeper and to get results and to get change. That's where the Feminine Energy Academy comes in. So if you've been watching us for a few months, you've been binge watching us for 6 months, consider investing into yourself even more, because a lot of times this can get you to a certain level, but to get over the hump, you have to go that much deeper. So definitely appreciate that. Let me see. What if the man don't want to marry? And that is from Roadrunner. She said, what if the man doesn't want to marry? Then I think you just answered your own question. The man doesn't want to marry. There's nothing you can do. You can't convince him. You sleeping with him won't help. It'll help him, but it won't help him want to marry you. So if you're dating a man, he's a great guy. He's a provider. He buys you stuff. He's attractive. He doesn't have kids. He just meets all the list, but he's hesitant about marriage, or he just tells you, like Roadrunner said, that he doesn't want to marry. If you're looking to get married, that's someone you want to move on from, because they're going to be there. They may date you for 7 years, 10 years. They may continue to date you, just moving on. But trust a man when he tells you what he tells you. If a man says that he doesn't want to marry, it could be you. He doesn't want to marry you, and that's okay. But if he says he doesn't want to marry, take it personal in the sense of he's talking to me. He's telling me for a reason. So if I want to get married, let me step away from this situation, because all you'll end up is hurt. You'll end up with more wounds, more healing that needs to be done, because he was such a good guy, and you thought you can change his mind. You thought maybe that it was just in the moment he didn't want to get married, that later he probably would want to get married. Ladies, I don't want you to set yourself up for anything like that. That's why I'm coming here. I'm giving you ladies information, because most guys won't talk about it because they're still in the game. And if you're still in the game, you can't give away all the plays. You gotta keep the plays to yourself. But I'm telling you this, and I want you in relationships. Remember, ladies, please think logically. If a man is telling you he doesn't want to marry, then I'll believe him. He doesn't want to marry. Let me see. Mr. Hugo says, "Preach, brother." Hey, Coach B. Yes, we can hear you. Can hear you good. Okay, definitely. But that's what it's about on here. Just being able to come in and help you ladies understand how men think. And of course, when Coach Tosh is on here, we're going back and forth with how women think, men think. But you can really stand out so much having the tools and thinking in the way. And we don't want you to think like a man and, act like a woman or anything like that. But come with this understanding, with the understanding of, if a man says this, if a man does this is what he may be thinking in most cases. Okay, before I go on, have a couple more questions. The man that I'm dating for 2 months has been pushy towards sex. I told him I'm not ready for that. At first, he said he respected that, but he still tries to push that when we go out at night. Listen, one thing that men are always going to do is try you. Men gonna try now. This is the difference. If he's not respectful, or if you feel uncomfortable, if you share the fact that you feel uncomfortable and he still continues to push it, then you want to consider, like, okay, maybe this person has boundaries issues where they just want to push boundaries and don't respect boundaries. Because trust me, as a man, you're going to try. You're going to shoot your shot, like we say. You're going to try to see if things can go that way. I don't care if you want to marry that person. You're going to try today. You're going to try tomorrow in different ways. But one thing a healthy masculine energy man is going to do is, once you say that you don't want to go that route, and he's going to back up. He may still throw it out there, but he's not going to make you feel uncomfortable. He's not going to make you feel any type of way, because he wants you to feel safe. Because we understand, if you don't feel safe, then it'll be hard to move forward in a relationship with us as men. So that's one thing to look at, because I don't want you ladies to get triggered when men start, okay, I want to kiss. Okay, they want to have sex. No, I mean, once men open that door in life, they're not going to close it. They may take a break, short break, but they're not going to close that door, because it's been open. They know They know how it feels. It's something that does something for men. So trust me, men bringing it up isn't the issue. It's the respect behind it. How do they respond based on your response? And again, if they make you feel uncomfortable, you share that you're uncomfortable, and they continue to do it, then that's why we tell you to rotationally date, because you're not connected to them, you're not married. And if they're doing that, you can start pulling back. You can share how you feel, and you can pull back, and you can, allow someone else the opportunity to step up into that role. But what happens often is you find yourself liking him, because the only way that you'll continue to talk to someone who's making you feel uncomfortable in most cases is because you're really into him. But trust me, if you're not into him, it doesn't take much. He can chew gum with his mouth open, and you can say, you don't like him, I don't like that, we done. But if you really like him, you give him chance after chance after chance. So stay detached from him. Understand this behavior is who he is. So if you're okay with it, great. But if you're not and you address it and he doesn't respect it, then that's someone you may want to consider just kind of backing away from in the moment, because that's something that you want to make sure moving forward in the relationship, especially because we know just by nature men are stronger, especially physically. So if men don't have discipline, if men don't have self restraint, then it's going to be challenging in a relationship. You're always going to feel like, okay, at any moment they can do this because, they don't respect my boundaries. So I would say just be careful and just stay vigilant in that situation, but continue rotationally dating. If that's your husband or someone already, no, if that's your husband, I don't even care if you're engaged. If that's your husband, then jump into Feminine Energy Academy. We can go deeper. But if it's just someone that you're dating, then be careful in those situations, because it speaks to the bigger issue of him respecting boundaries. Got to go back to work. Thanks, Coach B. FEA is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What three universal qualities would you say a man sees in his one forever? Uh, and that is from Purple Pretty. Three universal qualities that man sees in his forever. And as a man personally, I won't speak for all men, but me as a man, I wasn't thinking that deep. I wasn't thinking like, okay, what universal quality? No, I was like, okay, is she nice? Is she cute in the face? She thin in the waist? Does she not have a lot to say? Okay, those three qualities stand out. I think she's the one. That's as simple as I looked at it myself. Now you have men that may, look deeper, but trust me, men aren't looking too much deeper than that overall. They want to make sure that you take care of yourself, you look good, you take care of your body. You had those childbearing hips. You have those childbearing hips. Then the third thing is you understand how to talk to him. You understand how to listen. You understand basically your role in the relationship, because both parties have a role. And I don't want anyone to get offended. Like, I don't have a role. No, everybody has a role. I've been coaching for, coaching teams, coaching sports, coaching people for 20, 30 years. Everybody has a role. And a man wants to know that you understand what your role is within the relationship, and he understands his role. Men don't want to think a lot. Maybe I'm talking about myself, but men in general don't want to have to think too much, especially about when it comes down to the woman that they're with. Okay, is she a kept woman? Is she someone who understands how to move when I'm around her, when I'm not around her? Does she understand what boundaries need to be in place when it comes when it comes down to talking to other people? Does she understand those things? If she understands those things, has a good family qualities, takes care of herself, takes care of her kids if she has kids, those things mean so much to a man. And that's what men want to marry. Men don't want to just marry a pretty face. It's all three of them. Because if you have a pretty face and a thin waist, but you got a lot to say, then you're going to lose that man that you thought you wanted to be with or thought wanted to be with you. Men aren't going to put themselves in position where they're with women that have loose lips and, pause, all that, but women that have loose lips and don't know how to control themselves. Men aren't going to be with those type of women, because what that does is that puts them in position where now we're out, we're moving around. I don't know what you're going to say or do. So now I have to protect you. I have to provide for you. I have to be there in case you say something that I don't want you to say, but I can't control or help reel you in, because no, you just got to get this off your chest. That ain't how we grew up. We grew up like this. Well, listen, I grew up on the west side of Chicago. That doesn't mean that defines who you are. You have to be able to move accordingly in different environments, specifically allowing your man to be a man and not feeling like you have to step up and talk. No, being able to have that self control as a woman is so key, because, in most cases, a lot of people want to say things, but understanding the time and the place, you know what? I'm not going to say nothing now. I'll have a conversation with my husband when we get home, just to tell him how I felt, but not, upstaging him, because that's the biggest thing with men, being able to show respect. Because when you're out and you're over talking a man, or you're saying stuff because he didn't say it, that affects a man. It kind of makes a man feel like, okay, he's not a man in that moment, and other people are watching, and we're looking like, okay, we don't want to present this relationship like it's off balance. So, like, she's the one that's got to step up. No, allow him, if he's a quiet leader, or however he leads, allow him to lead. Have a conversation with him when you get home. Get some understanding, but understand your roles within the relationship, and that'll help every relationship that you're in be that much better. Let me see. So hopefully that helped you out with that. The man I'm dating for 2 months has been pushy towards sex. Yeah, I think I read that one already. Let me see. I like the simplicity. Yeah, just know this. All the things that you're thinking in your head about men, and what are they thinking here? What are they thinking about this? Okay. Sometimes they're thinking about it, but most of the times it's birds and stars that's going off in men's head. Just like, okay, or I won't say that, because that presents it in one type of way. But men are thinking about, okay, what's the next move I'm gonna make? Okay, did I pay this bill? Did this get taken care of? Do the kids have what they need? Did I buy this? Is it gas in the car? Okay, did we go grocery shopping yet? That's what men are thinking about. Men aren't thinking about, okay, she had a hair out of place. Um, you know, just stuff that doesn't matter. They're thinking about things that matter to them. Now you got to take care of yourself, right? You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, your body, your toenails. I always talk about the chipped toenails, chipped fingernails. Men don't go for that. Men do not go for the chipped nail, the chipped toenails, lipstick that's out of place, any of that. But men aren't thinking about just small, minute things that, that you may have said the wrong thing on accident and apologize. They're not thinking about that, an hour later. You apologize, they move on. That's how men are. I want to get to one more question at least. At least one. Chip toenails, yes. Ladies, get those manicures and pedicures appointments scheduled at least bi-weekly in the summer. In the winter, you want to keep the fingernails done, but the toenails, maybe you can go once a month, once every 6 weeks. But you have to look, this is year-round maintenance. You don't want to put yourself in a position where, you take those shoes off because you go over somebody's house and they don't allow shoes in the house, and now you out there bad. No, that can be a deal breaker for men. So, ladies, keep those toenails and those fingernails on point, please. Um, so we have Donna. She's in the Feminine Energy Academy. She says, I've spoken to guys on the apps. I've been getting better, but no one has met the love list and have fallen love list, and men have fallen off naturally. Should I take a short break and keep listening to the dating audios? Well, again, you can jump. Definitely, we can go a little deeper in the FEA. But if you've been on the apps and the men haven't met your love list, and you're not able to meet anyone, especially if you're taking care of yourself, if you have the look that men are looking for, then you want to look deeper into just getting off the apps. You want to go over that love list. What's on the love list? What's on the negotiables and non-negotiables? What are these guys doing that none of them meet it? Because trust me, if you've been on the apps for, a couple of weeks, couple of months, and you're taking care of yourself, you have the right pictures up, and we go through that as well in the Feminine Energy Academy, where we review your profiles. We go through those for you to make sure that things are on point, because sometimes it can just be a thing off. It could be what you write in your bio. It could be things like that, but I'm sure your bio is good because you're in the Feminine Energy Academy. But you want to look deeper and see, okay, is it something you're saying, something you're doing? Because it could be them. But it's not just about taking a break and gathering more information, because so many times we can get all the information, like, okay, I'm ready. And you'll never be totally ready, but you want to get enough information to be able to take steps and move forward. And I believe you have enough information at this point just based on knowing you, Donna, and you've been in the FEA. So it's really about us looking deeper to see, okay, what are these conversations looking like? What is he saying to you? What are you saying to them? What's on your love list? What's on your non-negotiable and your negotiable list? Once we're able to see that, then we're able to dive deeper into it, because a lot of times it's just a small tweak here and there that needs to be made. And of course, continue to listen to the Dating for Marriage audios, but I don't want you to just get off the apps just because you're not attracting them. We want to be able to look a little deeper and say, what's going on? What are these conversations like? And where can we make the changes to be able to attract these healthy masculine energy men? Because they're on the dating apps, they're in person, they're everywhere out here. I know so many healthy masculine energy men that are single, that own businesses, that have great jobs, that are on these dating apps, but it's the fact of positioning yourself so you can be able to attract these guys that are on there, and so you can position yourself where potentially they can take you off of these apps. But Don, I really want to look a little deeper before I give an answer to tell you to get off, because we want to make sure that you're doing what's necessary. So definitely, if you could send myself, Coach Toss, just kind of your profile so we can look through it. If we look through it, we'll look through it again to see exactly if there's any adjustments. And we may need to understand more about what type of conversations you're having. That's why I gave the three things. And it is not for you, but definitely it can apply. Three things not to say to men on dates. And those conversations mean so much. Let me see. How to respond when you detach, but he calls you avoidant and said it's not healthy not to talk at all, not to talk all day. Well, if you detach from someone, and of course, those of you that have been following our story, you understand that Coach Tasha and I started talking initially, and things weren't moving forward the way she desired. It was okay with me. I was great, but we were talking and things weren't moving forward. So she decided to detach and go silent. And she had a conversation like, things are great, but it seems like you're busy right now, so I don't want to hold you up. So when we had that conversation, she detached, meaning that I didn't have access to her. I wasn't even able to call her and tell her we should be talking. It's not healthy for us not to talk. So if you're detaching from him, he shouldn't have access to you. If he's reaching out, and you feel like you can't, and during this time, you can't just let it sit there, then you have to look at different options. You didn't ask for his permission to detach. You made a decision to detach. And if he doesn't respect your decision to detach, and if he's coming to you with the same, guilt trip, instead of coming to you in a way where he's recognizing what he did wrong, and he's coming to you differently and saying, okay, I need to make changes, after you've detached for a while, because that's what happened to Coach Tosh and I. Even after about 6 or 8 months, I came back, but I came back different. I came back with a plan. I came back ready to move countries. So fully detaching means he doesn't have access to you. If you allow him to get access, or if you have a conversation with him, then and he's talking the same language, then he's not ready to move forward differently. And you may have to take that detachment to a next level. But make sure you detach for 30, 60, 90 days. even before you open yourself back up to him, or even open yourself up to have a conversation, because detaching for a couple of weeks, or detaching and he still has access to you, isn't really detaching. And detaching hoping he comes back, that's key. Detaching hoping he comes back isn't detaching. With Coach Tasha and I, when she detached, it was like, okay, that was great. I don't know what happened, but I have to move on. And she continued to pray for her husband, continue to position herself for her husband, whoever that was. She didn't pray for me to be her husband. She prayed for her husband, and I showed back up because I had done some healing. I came back differently. But I want you to fully detach from him, because right now it sounds like you're not detached. It sounds like you took a break. And that happens so often where people take breaks, like, you know what, we need a break. So you don't know what fully detaching looks like. So again, jump into FEA. It's free 7-day trial. Jump in now so we can help you understand what detaching is, what it looks like, and so you can position yourself to be able to be found by your husband. Because when you're still in that energy of connected with your ex, and okay, he's not that bad. I just, I don't want to do him wrong. I don't want him to feel bad. Now you're not positioned for your husband to find you, because you have energy that's still for your ex. So if you're looking to get married, looking to be in a healthy relationship, we want you to fully detach. So, because what's going to happen is when you fully detach, he's going to either come back right, or he's going to come back the wrong way. And now you cut him off. But you're not doing it for him to come back. You're doing it for your husband that you're positioning yourself for. So definitely, so many good questions. Last one: should a woman ever be first to take a man's profile on Hinge or not? I'm not sure about the dating apps, but because I'm out the game, a woman should never be first to reach out to a guy. Now, it's okay if you like him, because you don't have any control over who likes who first in most of those apps, I'm guessing. So it's okay if you like his picture, but you shouldn't be reaching out to him, you know, good morning, handsome, how are you? Man, you looking good, or whatever. I don't even care if you're saying hi. You shouldn't reach out to him first. If he says hi, it's okay to say hi back, but you want him to lead the conversation. Because what happens so often, men will say little stuff like, hey, beautiful, I see you, so whatever they say, waiting on you to respond. No, you allowed them to lead the conversation. Don't initiate any conversation. It's great to like the picture, but leave it there. So many more questions. I wish I could get to them all. So many questions. Okay, one more. Does the FEA help me break down what my love list is? I want to maintain my man. His phone is like dark. I want to maintain my standards, but also not be picky. That's in waiting for perfection. So definitely in the FEA, we help you break down what a love list looks like. Like I said, once you jump in, the link is below, and that is Cali Doll. The link is below. Go ahead and hit the link. Once you jump in, then we'll walk you through it. But I want you to message Coach Tosh. Message her. Let her know what you're in there for. Mention that you were on this live with me. Let her know that we had a conversation and what you're looking for help in, what areas, and she'll help guide you with that. She answers all the questions on her own. So, definitely make sure when you jump in, you reach out to Coach Tosh, and we'll definitely help you understand and walk you through your love list. But definitely appreciate everyone jumping on today. Ladies, trust me, jump into the FEA, the Feminine Energy Academy, so you can help position yourself for your husband if that's what you desire. Also, we have a dating for marriage community that you can jump in. So jump into the dating for marriage community. We're close to 1,000 members in there. So jump in there, and you can also allow yourself to be found by your husband potentially in there. Got so many great things going on, but appreciate you all for jumping on, and we'll see you soon.